Hi, my YouTube family. It's your girl Cam, and as you guys know, this is Modest Rebels channel. But today we're going to switch it up a lot of it. So, as you can see by the title of this video, we're going to talk about my mental health journey. Um, a lot of you have seen recently on Instagram and Facebook that I have made a post, or I've made multiple posts about different vitamins or supplements and things like that that I take now to help me with my process, or that has helped me with my process. So, with that being said, I just wanted to go ahead and give the people what they're asking for. So, a lot of people have been asking me to tell my story. This is a story that I am, in the past, I wasn't too comfortable with telling it, but going through a lot of healing and still healing to this day, it's like healing is never ending. So, FYI, if there's anyone out there telling you that it's going to be like an immediate relief, or you're looking for an immediate change or just immediate something, it's just like it doesn't happen that way. Unfortunately, life doesn't, it's not planned out for us that way. So there's no elevator to success. You're basically being healed and tested every day, no matter what level in life you're on. It's like you're still being healed, you're still, being tested. So let me just go ahead and jump right in to my story. So this is going to be broken down into different parts. Um, I don't know if I want to do two parts or three parts, but I'll figure it out. I'll just continue to talk, and whatever spirit, wants me to say, I'll just go ahead and say it. So for those of you who don't know, I'm very spiritual as well. If you have been following this channel prior, I do have tons of tarot readings on this channel as well. So if you guys are interested in any type of personal readings or anything like that, you guys can definitely hit me up on Instagram. That's Modest Rebel. That's Modest with two S's. Um, and just a regular Rebel on Facebook is just Modest Rebel. So, yeah, on to my story. So, there was sort of like a ripple effect, I would really want to say, when it comes down to my mental health journey. So, there was a time where I literally hit rock bottom. And throughout the journey, one quote or one saying you'll always hear me say is pressure bust pipes. So prior to me basically hitting the rock bottom of my mental health, I was indulging in a lot of things that I shouldn't have been indulging in, as far as like drinking alcohol, breads, cakes, sugars, starches. Like I was just head over heels about this brown bread from the Cheesecake Factory, and it had like oats on them, and I loved it so much. It was really wheat bread, which I've later come to find out that I was sort of allergic to that, or it caused me some type of indigestion problems. But yeah, so I was definitely indulging in the alcohol. I was definitely smoking weed. I don't, pop any pills or anything like that unless they're like Tylenols or like Motrins for like a headache or something. But other than that, just alcohol and marijuana, these starches and things like that. And then here comes the more so, um, I don't want to say physical aspect, because, eating and all of that was very physical, but this is something that I was dealing with different energies of people. So a lot in my life, I was really going through a period of time where me and my parents weren't really seeing eye to eye. I was definitely in that rebel stage, a young rebel with the page energy. I want to say the page of wands, just that young rebel, just wanting to do things. I don't really want to say my way, but I would definitely say being a rebel to get attention, and a lot of attention is not good attention. So I definitely went down a path where me and my parents, we wound up not being as close as I wanted us to be at one point in time. Going through a lot of things with my dad as well. And I'll get through that, I'll get to that story some other time, some other video. I promise you guys, I promise. But yeah, so my relationship with my parents weren't really good. And my choice in men weren't very well. It just wasn't very well at all. But this specific relationship to me, I want to say, was the start of my mental health going down, because I felt like, in some sense, I've kind of embodied the energy from this person. This person was attracted to me. I definitely would say attracted. But I would definitely say more of a karmic type of energy. Like, there was a lesson here. There was definitely a lesson here, because we weren't growing in any part whatsoever. And I kind of felt like this person really wanted to embody me. I had locks at the time, and this person didn't. And anything that I wanted to do, this person wanted to do. I was really, really heavy into the craft, witchcraft, voodoo, hoodoo, whatever you want to call it. I was really, really heavy into that, doing rituals and things like that. And this person wanted to basically embody everything that I put out there. So I was definitely irritated with this person. I was definitely irritated with my parents. And then on top of that, I had children that I have to take care of as well. Around this time with this person was just very clingy, but not really going through any type of relationship questions or things that I know now. I didn't do those things. So I really didn't get to know this person until after I had sex with them for multiple times. Um, yeah, unfortunately, this girl just did not learn her lesson even after 3 children. So this person, they portrayed themselves to be one way, but in fact they weren't. I would definitely say that they had some type of mental health issues. I don't know if it was any type of insecurities or always feeling codependent. They were just like very down in energy. One thing I will say, a lot of people were brought into my life that I was honestly just supposed to help mentally. I wasn't really supposed to fuck them, or I don't know if I can say that on here. I wasn't really supposed to have like relations with them. I think they were just more so sent into my life for a lesson, for either them to teach me a lesson or for me to teach them a lesson. However the case may be, it's just this person, it just wasn't really right. So I kind of felt like something was wrong with them mentally as well as physically. They really didn't have any ambition. They were like very lower leveled in the mindset and things like that, and different pressure from a lot of people around me. Everyone telling me like, you're too beautiful to be around this energy. This person doesn't want anything from life. They just want to be around you, underneath you, smelling your butt, like just in your butt, and not really like wanting to grow or progress any in any way, shape, or form, if this is what I really want to say. So I would definitely say through sex and things like that, I definitely embody that energy. With all of those things that were going on with me, not really seeing eye to eye with, my youngest kid's dad. I really don't want to go into too much detail about that, but I'll just say pressure, bust, pipes. So in fact, with trying to deal with all those different adversities that I have on top of me, I wasn't really feeding my body anything nutritious or anything of value to help me grow or to help me blossom. This was just basically adding more weight to me, making me worse than what I already was before starting. So continuing on, I wind up just ghosting this person and never ever talking to this person again. I think there was an issue with like a close friend coming by, and they were like being insecure, and I was just like already fed up with the situation. Like, you don't want to work, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, and now you want to tell me who I should have around as friends, and I'm like, no way, I can't do that. So I ended that situation. I just wind up ghosting this person. And after leaving this person alone, I still had the issues with my kid's dad on the line. And, dealing with things with my parents. It was just so much going on, but not feeding my body, not finding a way out or a way to relieve myself. I used to write, I used to draw, I used to do so much, but it's like once that world gets a hold of you, it's just like there's no like, I don't want to say there's no letting go, but it takes a lot of you touching the fire to understand that it's hot in order for you to really learn. Like a lot of people just can't tell you, okay, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. At some point, with being a rebel, it's like I need to touch it myself and I need to see that it's hot. And then once I know that it's hot, I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to tell you exactly how hot it is, what degree, what temperature. I'm going to overanalyze the whole situation for you and give it to you in reasoning as to why. So the next rebel that feels as though they need to touch it for themselves, at least I can give you a little bit of, more information or a little bit of in depth of details of what's going on. And I feel like this is my vision for today. So going on with my story, it first started off, you guys, with a kidney stone. Now, I had a kidney stone and it was like very, very, very painful. Like one of the most painfulest things I've ever been through in life. And in fact, I thought that something else was wrong with me, like sort of like constipation or something like that. But it wasn't. It was a kidney stone. So I wound up passing that. And I was like on Oxycontins or like Percocets or something like that for like 3 days because the pain was like unbearable, and it didn't come out until about 3 days after I went to the hospital. Even though no matter how much fluid I drank, like it just didn't matter. It just wasn't coming out. Any type of movement, anything like that, I was just like bent over crying. That is the worst thing next to a toothache and childbirth, and from my recollection, from my perspective in my world. So after that, there was some small incident that happened again with my one of my parents, and I don't know. I just immediately just couldn't catch my breath. I remember being in a spot on my bed, and I'm like, I can't breathe. I can't catch my breath. I can't catch my breath. Like, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. And my mom's like, come on, like, just put something on. Maybe we need to take you to the hospital. Okay, cool. If that's what we need to do, then I need to go ahead and do that because I don't know what's going on. So, fast forward, I put my clothes on. We are in the car driving, and we're on the highway, probably like a mile away from the hospital, like right at the exit. So, we're getting off the exit. Going to turn to the highway, and even though I still felt like I couldn't breathe the whole time, at this time I felt like a numbing feeling, or just like I just lost senses, or in like other areas of my body, but right by my digestive system, I really want to say about my gut. This is when I felt like this really, really tightening feeling. Like it was sort of like a contraction, but a very, very tightening feeling in my gut. And all of that feeling, I lost feeling, through everywhere else in my body except for my gut. I just felt like someone had my gut in their hands, or my intestines or whatever in their hands, and they were just like literally squeezing the life out of me. That's what I can really, really try to get you guys to. That's the best description I can get. Honestly, like someone has like a corset on you and they've buttoned that bitch up to like the furthest button, and it's like now your back and your stomach is like touching it, and it's like someone is squeezing you. So yeah, that was definitely the expression. So that happened to me the first time, and you guys, now that I can look back at it, it was very, very dramatic, but very, very sad for me. All I know is I kept telling my mother, like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't feel, I can't feel. And I'm thinking, like, this is my last breath in my mind. In my mind, I'm like, this is this is it. Like, I'm coming home. Like, I don't, I just really didn't know. So I jumped out of the car. She finally pulls up inside the emergency room's parking lot. And I jumped out the car. Sorry, you guys, that's my dog if you hear her shaking. But I jump out the car and I immediately just dropped to the floor because, as I told you, I lost feeling everywhere else except for in my gut area. And not to mention, I lost feeling, but my arms and things kind of like cramped up. It kind of went like really stiff. Um, if I try to describe it, it's like it'll be like really horrible. I'll try to place a picture up here somewhere on the screen to try to get you guys to see what I'm saying. But yeah, it's kind of like everything, my joints and everything locked up on me. Like I had no control. And the whole time I'm breathing, but I'm panicking breathing. And they rush me in there. They like rush me on like these monitors and stuff like that. And they're like, well, her oxygen is 100%. Like, what's going on? They're checking my vitals and they're like, she's 100% fine. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand. And someone is just like, well, we don't understand what's going on with you. Like, you were just here about a week ago or, a couple of days ago for the kidney stone. Like, so at this point, we just don't know what's going on with you at this time. Okay, you guys. And not only because I'm kind of forgetting something, I definitely was on birth control. I was on birth control. So we're going to talk about that as well. If you feel as though birth control has also some type of, you know, adversity with your mental health, especially my women. But for you guys who, experienced a woman like on birth control that's went through any type of like anxiety, PTSD or anything like that, please comment down below and I will definitely talk about that and on another, video. But anyway, I was definitely on birth control, you guys. And they just did not know what was wrong with me. They just didn't know. I didn't know what was wrong with me either. I had no clue. I had no suggestions. All I know was I finally got the feeling come back to me or whatever the case may be. My feelings in my arms and my legs. And I was just jittery. My heart was hurting because this was the first time my heart has ever beated this fast. And it was just a very traumatic moment for me. It was very, very, very traumatic. Like, this was the first panic attack I've ever had. It was the worst. I thought that I was going to die, and I still feel like I was, dying at the time. So they wound up packing me up, checking my vitals and everything, and they're just like, we just don't know what's wrong. Why don't you just go see a primary care doctor? Whatever the case may be. So I left from there. They basically did nothing. I came home, heart still palpitation and, heart still palpitating and things like that. And at some point I felt like that I was having an anxiety attack about every 5 minutes. Like, as soon as I get over one, there was another like coming right around the corner. Like, I literally got no relief, especially not only did I get diagnosed with the anxiety, I also got diagnosed with PTSD. So it was more so like a reoccurring anxiety and panic attacks. Like, it was really bad for me. I felt like I had no control over myself. Like, I just felt like I just didn't understand. It was a part of me that I didn't want to accept. It was a part of me that I didn't want to, believe that this was me. I don't know how I got in this situation. What actions at the time, I had no clue how I got into the situation. I had no clue what was going on with me. Something was wrong with me and I just did not know what was wrong. And I needed to find out what was wrong with me. But I was still dealing with my emotions. I was still dealing with the fact that I could barely breathe when I walked sometimes because I was having panic attacks as I'm walking. I couldn't eat my food. It was just a lot going on. I wound up turning crippled at the time. I didn't want to, especially with my first time of it happening in a vehicle. I didn't want to get inside of cars. I didn't like hospitals. I didn't like parking lots. I just didn't. I just couldn't for some reason. It was just like that small situation or that small incident literally traumatized me for that period of time in my life. And I was so devastated. I'm just like, what do I do? Like, what if it happens again? And that's more so what I was afraid of. Like, is it going to happen again? Is it going to be that strong again? I just was in a state of fear, and I was just in a state of panic, and it just was not okay for me. So that was the first one. The second panic attack, I would definitely say I had a lot more help. I was still at home doing research, trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I'm like, maybe it's just anxiety, because this is around the time when I didn't know what it was. Even the doctors at the emergency room couldn't even tell me what was wrong. They're just like, well, we don't know what's wrong with you. So, if you're not dying, then you got to go. Okay, cool, whatever. So the second time, um, I don't think I was arguing or anything. I don't know what happened specifically, but it was something about the foyer in my home. Something about the foyer in my home reminded me of being in the vehicle. I would leave. I couldn't sit in my room because the first time that it ever happened to me, it started in my room. This is when I first said, you know what? Well, my mom said, you know what? We got to go to the emergency room, or we got to see what's wrong with you. We got to see why you're not okay. So my room was very hard for me to come into. The foyer was very hard for me. So I think that was one of the triggers with my second panic attack. I was definitely triggered from the past panic attack that I've had in the home or in my room. As I stated, I wasn't comfortable in my room by myself. I felt unsafe in my room. I just didn't know. I was afraid. It was really hard for me to heal in the place. At that time, it was really hard for me to heal in the place that I was hurting. So, my second panic attack, I had it in the foyer, as I said, for about the third time. And it just so happens that one of my daughter's teachers, their dad is a firefighter, and he came to the rescue. My mom didn't know what to do because once again I got crippled. My mom didn't know what to do, so her first thought was to call the ambulance, and that's what she did. So he arrives, and he was he was the first angel in that process that made me feel like everything was going to be okay. He shared some things with me about his daughter, about her being, going through anxiety and things like that. And his stories comforted me, even though I was, just dead as afraid, just going through another panic attack. He literally knelt down on the floor and held my hand. And I was so like self-conscious about it because at the time, going through those panic attacks, I would sweat. I would sweat refusively, and I just don't like when I sweat. To me, I smell like chicken noodle soup. Mama ass stinks. So I don't like that. So I was very self conscious about it. But at the time, it was just like he didn't care. He was more so just really worried about the concern of me, worried about me getting through whatever it is that I was going through. So he helped me through that situation, even though I was like still breathing really weird. And he's telling the other, his other employees, like, look, her oxygen is 100%. Everything's good. This is when I found out about anxiety and PTSD because he introduced it to me. He told me how, as I stated, his daughter, was going through it or whatever the case may be. So when the ambulance came, they wound up taking me to the emergency room. This time I didn't go to the first emergency room that I went to. I went to a different emergency room that was a little closer to my home at the time, or a little closer to this home at the time. And this is the emergency room that I'm really not too fond of. It's not my favorite. So anyways, they are asking me questions. They're asking me like what's going on, because at the time it's like I'm going through PTSD, I'm going through anxiety, I'm overwhelmed, I'm flustered with thoughts, my mind is rambling, like I just don't know what to do. I have no control over anything right now. So of course, I'm going to have certain thoughts of me not being able to handle it, me just wanting to give up. So at the time I'm like, okay, I'm being open and honest. They're asking me like, are you worried about harming yourself, or do you not want to be here? And I'm like, well, I don't want to harm myself, but I don't want to be here. And immediately when I said that, they took me back into a psych ward. And I'm just like, wait, I'm going through a lot at the time. It's like it took me a minute to process it, but thankfully, my support system. I have a support team that I'm so grateful for. I just want them to know that right now, especially telling this story. I'm just so grateful for you guys. I really love you guys. But my support team were there, and they're just like, why in the freak are you putting her in a psych ward? She's not, harmful to other people. She's not doing this. She's not going through that. She's having fucking anxiety. She's going through these things, and it's like you're putting her in a spot by herself. You're not, sitting her around people who love her, or people who can comfort her, or things like that. You're not having emotions. You're not having human emotions. You're just throwing a motherfucker in a cold room with a whole bunch of concrete. And it's just like, what type of progression are you trying to get here? There's no progression here. It's not going to be none. An idle mind an idle mind is the devil's playground. So yeah, we'll talk about that some other time. So this is what they did to me, and my support team basically raised hell. And I mean literally raised hell. So they immediately took me out of there. There was two people that came into the room as I was being discharged. He came in and he apologized to me. He said, I'm so sorry, that this happened to you. I apologize that they placed you back here in this room, whatever it is. But it seems as though, you're going through anxiety and things like that. We have some meds for you. You can take these. They're going to basically just level you out, get you at a mindset to where so you're able to be calm and relaxed and not have so many panic attacks. Then he also gave me a list of therapists that I could go to as well, to help me around this time. And he just was like apologizing, like really, really hard, apologizing so hard. So I wound up taking his advice. I did take the pill. And then I wind up calling the therapist so that I can get a therapist. When I did take the pill, did I like the pill? Hell no. I couldn't stand it. I felt like someone else. I felt like everything was slow. My responses were slow. My movement was slow. I just did not feel like Cam. And I'm just like, this is not me. Like, I'm a mother. And speaking of me being a mother, like the whole time around this time, my children, they're another part of my support team. And I love them. And I thank them so much for being such strong, beautiful, blessed children who, have the capacity to understand and, is always willing to be there and help mommy and, help me grow and things like that. So yeah, like my children, at first it was scary for a lot of us. We really didn't know what was going on with me. With children, they're like my mother, like what's going on with my mom, but they were respectful enough to kind of put themselves on the back burner for a while, because it's like if mommy's not together, then none of us can be together. So we have to make sure that mommy's together so that we can be well, we can do well. Like we're not used to mommy giving us this energy. We're not used to mommy, snapping at us for no reason. We're not used to these things with mommy. Like mommy's unable to control herself, and they're not used to that. They weren't used to that. So it was very, very tough for them. So geez, I kind of lost my train of thought there. So yeah, the pills, it just was not where it was at for me. And I took them because I can't even say I took them, because out of the whole bottle of pills, I would definitely say I took about 3 of them. I just couldn't do it. I just wasn't with it. Like I said, they made me very slow, my movement very slow, very lethargic. Like I just didn't feel like myself. And it's like even though my movement was slow, my vocal was slow, but that spirit inside of me, like my spirit, it was still up and going. Like it's a rebel within me. Whatever this whomever this rebel is, it's like it's this rebel within me that's like, no, we're not settling for this. No, you think we about to walk around here and be on these pills and looking like this and looking crazy? And no, we're not about to do this. Like, we're getting ready to find out what's going on to try to get you back to your old self. We're going to do what we have to do to get you back to your old self. So I would do anything. I told you I was heavy into witchcraft around that time of letting that person go, ghosting that person. I kind of like let that go because that person made me hate spirituality at a time. I don't know what it was about them. I guess them wanting to be like me so much or embody me. It was like an energy vampire, but more so like on a very, very obsessive type of Richter scale. Like it was weird. Um, so I kind of left spirituality alone. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So, I don't want to say half dead, but crippled, not really understanding, what's going on with me, not being able to walk fully. I couldn't walk 2 steps without being out of breath. I couldn't stand up for long periods of time. I was really crippled. Like I was really messed up. So I just started trying to do things that made sense. I didn't want to, but without my mother. Without my mother, I don't know where I would possibly be at without her because it was like she's like, look, we got to figure out, how to do this. You're not going to take the medicines because I don't, she didn't like the medicines for me either. She's seen a difference in me. So she was just like, okay, we got to find something else. And my mom's very heavy in the craft as well. So we went to one of my favorite stores to try to get stones. And I got this stone. It's a labradorite stone. And we got some sage. Hold on. You guys, so I do apologize for that mix up. But yeah, so it was just like we just were not going for that. She was just with whatever, and I'm talking about my mother for those of you who could possibly be just joining. She was basically just with whatever I was on. She understood like this wasn't me. And plus it was a lot on her. And it was a lot on my dad as well, especially with them being a part of my support system and, being there to, be with the kids emotionally and physically when I couldn't. Wherever I lacked is where, they would pick up. So I really appreciate them for that. So, after that second panic attack or anxiety attack, um, as I said, they moved me to some type of psych ward. The guy gave me the information and meds, and I stated that the meds were very slow, so we were just trying to find some different alternative. She would reached out to someone who worked at a dispensary or knew someone who could get something from a dispensary, and I tried out different strands. Some of them were like really good for me. I was able to cope and get a great mindset and not have like such of a slow process or a slow way of thinking. It was just like the that strand basically just heightened my creativity, and it just heightened me to do some research on what was going on with me, why this was happening. Is there any way that I can stop it? Is there ways that I can prevent it? Whatever the case may be. So I wound up having a third panic attack after doing a lot of research and watching YouTube videos and seeing people and their stories and things like that kind of gave me the strength to finally grab anxiety by the balls and just say, you know what, I'm going to face this head on. I'm continuously having panic attacks throughout the day. This is going on for more than 48 hours. Like at some point in time, if I was supposed to die, I'm going to die. And it's just like, what else is there for me to lose at this point? So I just, from watching them, I just learned that, hey, I gotta face this shit head on. I can't run from it. I can't run from this situation. This is a situation that I have to face head on. Listen, I was trying so hard to get back to the old me. I would cry in the shower. I don't know if you guys know, but all of my witches out there, or all of my gargoyles, or my males who do witchcraft and indulge in those things in the craft, you know how powerful water is. I would sit and I would cry in the shower. I would cry in the tub. I would scream, for sanity, for a peace of mind, for stillness, for being able to enjoy the sunset. And for those of you with anxiety and PTSD, you know what I mean when I say I want to be able to enjoy a sunset. I want to be able to sit in a moment and watch the butterflies. I want to be able to watch the trees blow, watch the flowers flow. Like, I want to be able to watch that and not have a bit of anxiety or any stress or anything on me. It's just like I wanted to breathe that. I wanted to do that again. So I had to do it spiritually, physically, and mentally. I had to grab it by the balls. So during the third panic attack, having to, scream and want to get my sanity back, it's like I just had to face it head on. So once again, I'm in the car. Um, I'm home actually, parked, about to get out of the car, mind rambling. Because with anxiety, it's like you're thinking about everything. You're thinking about, whoa, we're driving. What if this car just comes up and hit me? What if I never get this? What if I never get that? What if, people think I'm ugly? What if this? What if that? It's just so much. It's just like your mind makes up all of these worst case scenarios for you when everything is okay. So trying to get out of the car, I immediately have a panic attack. I like lock up immediately, and I'm just like, what in the freak? But the whole time I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm breathing funny. I'm breathing weird. I'm locked up, looking like, just looking crazy. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, nothing's wrong. Everything is okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. And I'm talking to myself like this in my mind, but as I'm saying, it's like, I'm going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm all right. Everything is fine. Everything is all right. But I listened, and it was like, I'm fine. I'm good. Like, nothing's coming to get me. I'm good. I'm not dying. I'm not shot. No one's dead. I'm fine. So I had to breathe through it. I had to breathe through it. Breathe through me being locked up. And it was so embarrassing. I had my neighbors outside. I had everyone outside. And I didn't want to, project a lot of attention to me. Not project, but attract a lot of attention to me. I didn't want to do that. So I had to sit back in the chair, like kind of melt down, sort of, so no one would be paying me any mind. And it was like my mom dropped everything immediately because she's like, oh shit, she's having another one. And she's just like, I don't know what to do. She's running in the house, I guess, to try to go and get the meds, because at this point in time, I was off the meds because, as I stated, I was ready to take on, the situation by the balls and face it head on. So she's running in the house to go get the meds, to go try to get me whatever it is that she, is trying to help me with. And as she's walking away, I'm just like, no, like, no, don't, make a scene. Don't do this. Don't do that. I'm just like giving her that signal. And I'm just like, okay, I got it. I got it. I got it. By the time she comes back out the house, you guys, I'm walking out the car. I'm like jittery. I'm like fucked up in the head. And I'm just like, I lived. I made it through it. I'm cool. I still got the jitters. I still got to get myself together. But I'm like, I fucking did it. I finally faced whatever this was head on. So it's like, at this point in time, I feel unstoppable. I feel unbeatable. So I'm like, cool. Like, I'm feeling like I am an ounce of normal again, because I finally faced it and I breathed and I lived through it. So this is when I got to work. This is when I'm like, okay, cool. I can smoke again, because at one point in time, I wasn't able to smoke because whatever strand of marijuana I was getting before we went to the dispensary, I feel as though that was kind of affecting it as well. As I stated in the beginning, that with the alcohol and the sugars, it was just a lot. It was really a lot. So that's why I always say pressure bust pipes. So yeah. Um, if you guys want to hear the rest of this story about how I made this change and I stopped being crippled and with my anxiety I stopped feeling bad for myself. If you guys want to know about the research that I found out, then stay tuned. Let me know what you guys think at the bottom, in the comments below this video. Like, let me know what you guys think. If anybody has been through, the same things as far as like anxiety, PTSD, please let me know. I plan to get more and more deep into different stories and different situations that I've been through in life, and I want to share those experiences with you guys. I feel as though it's a lot that I can help someone with, or I can teach someone, or I can prevent someone from going through. So let me know what you guys think about this below in the comments. Please make sure you guys like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.